Peasy?
Hey, yo, what up?
Oh, shit.
Hey, bro.
Hold on.
Hey, I need to use your phone, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna call you back.
You just want to pick me up.
Hey, Peasy, dog. Hey, I'm doing a podcast. You wanna do this podcast?
It's in there?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do this.
Coronau podcast, motivational podcast. I got a very, very special guest today. You know what I mean? I know my boy for a long time now. We go way back, you know what I'm saying? We used to break bread together, you know what I'm saying? And now he created, you know what I mean, some really, really dope stuff on social media. You know what I mean? He's blowing up. You know what I mean? My boy D Peasy.
Yes, sir. A Bunky. Bussin'.
What's up, D Peasy? How are you, man? Obviously, we want to go from the beginning. I know the reason I got you here today so people can know your story. You know what I mean? Know from the beginning, you know what I mean, how you started and where you at now. So let's start from the beginning. Where you from originally?
So I'm from Houston, Texas. That's where I was raised. That's why you always see me wearing Houston, Texas, man. And a lot of my character now derives from the Houston, Texas streets, living, stuff like that.
Shout out to Houston, Texas, man. You know what I mean? And what brought you out here from Houston, Texas to California? You know what I mean? What was your transition as far as being out there and coming out here to Cali?
Man, it's crazy because I'm in a jail suit, right? and a lot of my upbringing right now is from, you know, my jail experience. But to move to California, I had caught my first felony.
Wow.
And it was for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And I had ended up in a ditch with the car totaled.
Wow.
And the police were knocking on the window and were like, hey, do we need to get you an ambulance? We get an ambulance? And I'm waking up, you know, I'm halfway blacked out. I'm like, oh,
man.
Shit. So I'm trying to take off, not knowing my car's halfway in a ditch. You know, I'm like, why am I going nowhere? So I had got locked up for that. And then my aunt was already out here. She had married, she got her husband out here in California and was like, hey, man, if we're going to bail you out, you ain't going to stay where you're at and keep on, you know, causing a ruckus out there. We're going to take you to California. And I was like, man, I didn't want to be in jail no more, man. Like, I was in Hempstead, Texas when I caught that case.
Wow.
And it's like country out there. Like, jails are dirty, man. It's just really small. So I was like, all right, let's do it. And then I got out, and they, sure enough, took me to California.
And then when you came to Cali, I know you've been living out here for a minute, you know what I mean? And obviously you caught another little case or situation, right? And this is how everything started for you. So let's go through that phase where, I mean, you got locked up, whatever the situation is, for what reason, if you want to talk about it. And also, you know what I mean, what did you learn from being locked up and you're like, you know what, you had an awakening, and what, you know what I mean, talk about that.
Okay, so first of all, like, growing up in Houston, my dad wasn't around, but only verbally through the phone.
Wow.
So most of my growing up, I learned from the other people in the streets in Houston. And you know, that was like my role models. My grandma was taking care of me, but you know, it's food in my stomach, place to sleep, wake me up for school, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But like the other stuff and upbringings and fighting and knowing how to defend yourself and everything, all from the streets of my homies. And I would be out there, you know, all night. So that pretty much kind of brought me to where I am now when I came to California. Not now, but when I came to California. And I was kind of bringing the same mentality, man. Like, we used to sip on syrup and pop some Xannies, man. And then we'd go out dressed in all black, you know, out there ready to, you know, wreak some havoc, man.
Yeah.
And jack cars, jack boys, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So once I came out here, and I kind of still had that mentality. I was still young. I haven't took that nowhere. So I chilled for a little bit. Then I kind of started getting back into the same thing. I started meeting people out here that was, you know, down to do the same with me. And you know, it's once you have someone else, then it's motivation on both sides. Hey, let's do this. So I ended up getting caught up for second-degree burglary, man. I had this girl I was with. I told her, because I knew this gas station because my homie had worked there, my neighbor, and he was like, hey, bro, he worked there, and he was like showing me, this is where we keep our cash. It's in this little cigar box or whatever, you know, back. So I had told the girl I was with to go ask the guy at the gas station to go to the restroom because I knew they had to walk her out because the restroom was locked. And then so he walked her out to the restroom behind the building, and I went and I crawled through this little. Honestly, I don't know how I made it through it, and I don't even know how I thought I was gonna make it through it, but I did. And it was a little window, you know, the little side windows gas station serves you. So I crawled up in there, I grabbed the box, and then I left, and I should have just burnt off once I got to the car, but I didn't want to leave the chick I was with. She was pretty down, you know, and so I waited, and then I was like, come on, hurry up when she came. But the guy was like already looking, calling the cops, and I was like, fuck, and I couldn't get away. So I was like, I could have if I left her there. But I ended up being like, you know what, can you just let us go, not call the cops, I'll give you the money back. He was like, yeah, cool. Cops show up 10 seconds later.
You know that's
like,
not,
damn. Yeah, so I got charged with a second-degree burglary. They gave me a year in Orange County, and I did like 8 months out of it. It was pretty cool, though, because I wasn't really I didn't have any violent charges or anything besides, you know, high school fights or something. But so they had me in Orange County at this place called The Farm, and it was crazy because I've been to a couple different jails. Nothing to brag about, but it's an experience and it's my story, so I'm gonna talk about it. This place was like open visiting, contact visits, and I was like, oh shit, you know. So I'm having a chick that I was gonna pick that did the thing with me. She was, you know, bringing me whatever I asked for. I had like, you know, street razors, Mach 3s, lighters. She would bring me like, you know, bud and a lot of things, man.
Whatever you
know,
can hustle.
whatever. And she would make it into this little tiny pack that was about 2 inches long. And it was like a whole pack of buglers in there. And she would compress it, melt the plastic. And then so we'd be visiting, and I would, you know, we'd do the exchange, boom, boom. I come back, everybody, what's up? My commissary was so stocked up there. I was like, I didn't have to have anybody send me money on my books because I was doing my hustle in there.
Wow.
And it was pretty much, they would send us to the main jail, to work in the kitchen. And the thing is, I had got busted for having eye drops because, you know, I didn't want my eyes to be red in there. So they had searched me. Somebody snitched on me, and they tossed me up, and they ended up moving because so that violation, I thought they were gonna send me back. They canceled my visits for, you know, like 2 months or something, but then they moved me to what they call a punishment, is midnight kitchen. They take you at like 10 at night till 6 to 7 in the morning at this kitchen at the main jail. So that was like my punishment, but I got used to it, you know. Plus having all the stuff that, you know, the girl was bringing in, everybody was copacetic, man. It was cool.
Yeah. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, looking at you like, damn, this moment he's bringing all the stuff in.
I'll be coming back into the dorm, you know, because it was tents over there. It was pretty much a farm. They would grow their stuff there, work, everything. We would do it. So I'd come back and people would be like, hey, man, what's up? We good? We good? I'm like, all right, yeah, we good. Like, oh, shit. You know, so that was a crazy time. That's one experience that I'll never forget. Like, that really was an eye-opener because that's like the longest time I did at the time. And how long was that? How long? So that was 8 months. They gave me a year. I did 8 months.
Okay.
And then from that, I get out. Oh gosh, it was horrible, man. Because the girl I was with had my back the whole time. Yeah. You know, she's bringing me stuff. She's visiting me 2 days. Like, we had weekends visits. She would come both days before work, and she was very, very supportive. So I get out. You know, we're chilling, doing the thing, and like maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, I pop 5 Xannies. My boy calls me, and I'm chilling at the house with the girl. She ends up falling asleep. You know, Xannies make you tired. And I'm like, man, I don't want to just waste it. I'm like, let me see what people are doing. And I hit up my boy, and he's like, hey, man, we got a hotel party going on over here. And I didn't have my car at the time. So I ended up taking the keys from old girl, and I jump in the car, head over there. And while I'm on the 5, they start hitting.
Oh,
and
man.
I do remember, like, eyes closing and nodding out, and I'm like, oh shit, all right, come on, I got this. But I would catch myself, so I'm thinking I'm cool. And then so I turn on the radio, I'm chilling, I'm going on the 5, and the next thing you know, I'm waking up to, you know, those long yellow poles on the freeway that are kind of like, yeah. So I'm on the 5 freeway going up north, and I hear do 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 do. So I get up, and then bow. So there's a freeway, and then the divider that has the yellow things in front of it, and it goes into the carpool lane on the left side of the freeway, and it kind of split. And I hit that So the car that I was in, her car, had a V in the middle, and like honestly, I should have been injured. Like I've wrecked too many. I've totaled about 5 or 6 cars in my lifetime, and most of them weren't mine.
Wow.
And so every time though, I was on the Xannies. That for some reason the Xannies be putting me in like, you know, I'm gonna come up on something, and so my body was at rest. So when I hit, every single time I haven't been injured, not even a scratch.
Wow.
Like I'd get up and people would be like, "Damn, you should have been dead. You should have broken bones." And I get out, and I'm sitting there looking at the car like, "Hey, should I run? Should I run?" And it was already too late. Highway Patrol was there, and then so Highway Patrol comes, and then so that case that I got bailed out from in Texas, I would get constantly pulled over here in California, and they'd be like, "You have a warrant out in Texas," because I ended up on probation that transferred out here, and then I ended up skipping, what's it called,
Court.
what's it called? Anyways, I didn't check into probation, absconding.
Okay.
So I was absconding from probation, like after 2 or 3 years, and so they set a court date for me in Texas, and I never went because I'm out here in Cali, and so they put a warrant out for me, and then so I got pulled over many times, doing what I'm doing, chilling, and got taken into jail. But it would be like a day, and they'd be like, "You know what? Texas don't want you, we're kicking you out." Boom, I get out of jail. I'm like, all right. So that happened like 3 or 4 times. So this time I'm telling the Highway Patrol, and I guess Highway Patrol don't play, because I was like, man, they're like, you got a warrant in Texas. I was like, man, Texas don't want me, man. You know how many times I've gone through this? They're like, oh, we're going to make sure they pick you up. So I do my time for the DUI, which was like 2 or 3 months. And then so when my time was up, I'm sitting there like, all right, this is my sentence end date. I should be getting released. Let me wait for them to call my number. So I'm sitting there waiting. They never call my number. I'm like, fuck.
Damn, that's the
So
worst
someone
feeling.
is like, do you have a warrant somewhere else? I'm like, yeah, I think in Texas. And they're like, oh, well, they have 30 days to pick you up. If not, they kick you out.
Wow.
So on the 28th day, they call my name, like, roll it up. And that's usually what they say when you're getting out, you know what I'm saying? So I pack up my stuff. I'm like, oh, shit, maybe, you know, it's time's up already. 2 days off or something. I get down and I see the transporter all with chains on, putting them on me.
Man,
I was like, fuck.
that sucks.
And then so I get to Texas, and they end up giving me the max for my sentence, which is 2 years. But I already had 6 months served, so I did 14 months out of that. But bro, it's crazy. Okay, so first I didn't go home for the DUI I had just caught. Now I'm getting transferred to Texas for 2 years, and the girl ain't want to have nothing to do with me because I was just out. She was taking care of me for all this time for 8 months, and I come out and get locked up 3 weeks later. So she's not responding to my letters, calls, or nothing. She friendly writes a letter saying, you know, she can't do this again. And you know, I was like, fuck. So I was like, man, in my head, I was like, well, you're gonna be doing this on your own. You know, this is what it's come down to. So once I got my sentence, I came back and I was like, fuck, I was all depressed. People were like, man, you're all right, bro. You're all right. You're going to get out, no probation or nothing. And shit'll go by. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay.
They do tell you that, right?
Yeah.
Just calm you down.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to be living. This is my life for the next 2 years. And I can't be thinking about what's going on out there. So I completely shut myself off from the whole free world, man. All the commercials that came on with Carl's Jr. and burgers and stuff, I turned my head. I didn't look at no calendars. Like, bro, like, I didn't even watch news. I didn't want to have nothing to do. So I just kind of watched sports, did whatever, worked out, did everything for that 2 years. And then when my 2 years was up and I'm supposed to get out, right? They don't call my name. And I waited a couple of days. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So they ended up calling my name, and they're saying immigration is picking me up.
What?
And I'm like, immigration? I got social. I've been here. Well, I was born in the U.S. Navy Hospital in Okinawa, Japan. My dad was in the Marines. My mom's dad was in the Air Force. And she got pregnant there, had me there.
Wow, that's
and then
crazy.
So I came here when I was 2 years old. We went to Cleveland, Ohio for a couple months, and then we moved to Houston, where I grew up. And I've never had to deal with this ever. You know, I social, I'm doing taxes, I'm doing everything I have to, and then all of a sudden I get hit with this. They sent me to immigration talking about, oh, because I caught this felony, plus I got the case that I caught in California. They're like, you're causing too much trouble. And they see where I'm born, Okinawa, Japan, U.S. Navy. They're like, you're born on U.S. soil, but, you know, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm straight. I go to court, and the judge orders me in order to deport.
Where to?
That's what I'm saying. My mom's Thai, my dad's Cuban. My dad's a citizen, my mom has a green card, and I was born in Okinawa, Japan. So the thing is, I'm sitting there and I'm telling my dad, I'm like, man, they're going to deport me, and I don't know where they're going to send me to. I can only speak English. I don't know how to speak another language. And So I sit for like a month and a half, and someone was telling me, hey, if they don't have nowhere to deport you, after 60 days they have to release you, right? So I'm sitting there because since I've been there for a while, most people get deported after a couple weeks, a month. So I'm already there like 6 weeks, and so I'm like, for real? So I wait a couple more months and I'm chilling, and then they call me out and they're like, all right, well, you're pretty much stateless. We don't know where to send you.
Yeah, you see.
So we're gonna get you out, and you're gonna have to report to us. So I just reported to them this week actually, Wednesday. I had to report to them and, you know, just give them my address I'm at, and they just kind of asked me questions. So that's something I had to deal with from that. So I went from the DUI to the 2 years to, I felt like I was never getting out of jail.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So when I finally got out, I felt so refreshed, man. I was working out every day in there, and I had got out, and, you know, everything was going cool. That's kind of when we met, because I got out in 2011 and I came back over here. I think we met like in 2014 or 15.
Yeah.
So during that time, my son, I had my son in 2013. I got with my baby mom pretty much fresh when I was out, you know what I'm saying? And I was doing my security job, and I ended up like fucking with the same shit again, from painkillers to Xannies to syrup. I was having a doctor giving me everything.
What took you to that mindset again, where you're like, you know what, I have to do these things? What, because obviously your mind was fresh, like you said. You came out, you were fresh, you know what I mean? Your mindset was cool, you know what I mean? Your mindset has changed. You have a kid now, but now you go back to the same. What triggered you to go back to the same shit that was pretty much destroying you?
Okay, let me tell you the trigger, bro. Like, okay, so I'm out, right? And I'm straight. And I'm so the chick, pretty much my baby mama, she was taking like a quarter of a Vicodin or something,
yeah,
and you know, for work or whenever she had pains or whatever, but not like abusing it. And I was like, can I she's like, you want one or one half or something? I'm like, man, you give me that, you gotta give me like 3 of them. So she gave me 3, and boom, it started right there. And then I didn't really do it like an everyday type thing or whatever, but that was kind of like, I heard California has the doctors, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff that was going into Houston was from California. So I went and, bro, I doctor shopped. Ended up finding a doctor that was giving me anything I wanted. So I'd be like, man, I got anxiety, man. My grandma been giving me 1 milligram Xanax, and it's not really working. I need something stronger. He gave me 2 milligrams. I'm like, cool. I came up, asking for Norco's, cough syrup. Like, bro, Jesus. I was getting high tech what's it called, Morton Grove, that walk, you know what I'm saying? I was getting all that, and it was just me. I wasn't really kicking them with too many people. I don't know too many people out in California. I have my acquaintances, and the ones that I do acquaint with, that I click with, I communicate with. So I'm just chilling. I had a bunch of little syrup bottles in the back of my car, like all in the back seat, filled up. So that ended up, becoming my habit. And so I couldn't live normal without taking that, and that went on for years, man. So
how many years do you think
from 2014, 15 to when I got locked up, 2020?
Wow.
So now I ended up going on methadone because Medi-Cal would pay for it, and I didn't have to pay for it, and they would give me the dose, and that shit was the strongest shit ever. Yeah. For any opiates, like, that takes over. That's like the top of the class, besides fentanyl, but fentanyl is synthetic. Well, methadone's synthetic too, but it's more of a help. It doesn't damage your body, but you still get physically addicted to it. So I'm taking it. Even when I was working with you, I'd have to go in the morning to West Street in Long Beach and go to the clinic, do my dose.
We worked by that. Remember, we worked by that methadone clinic. I remember that.
And that was perfect for me because, I was like, cool. And so, of course, it has those 2 pharmaceutical drugs are the worst and longest withdrawals, like, besides, I don't know, alcohol. I mean, I heard alcohol, you could die from it too. So Xanax is the same thing. Opiates, you're just in so much pain. So when I got locked up, I swear I thought I was about to die. Like, I was really like self-talking to myself. Like, so my son's going to be telling this story. His dad died at, 34, and this is the reason why. And, so I was really like, damn, this is what he's going to be telling. Because I I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat. I wasn't myself. They put me in the yellows, which is like the mental ward of the jail.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, fuck, man, I this is it. I did this to myself, and this was it. And when you're withdrawing from opiates, you can't feel your a lot of shit is numb.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't feel my face. And for some reason, I kind of visualize myself. I don't know, from a dream or what, that I didn't have no teeth and I was fucked up. And I was like, sometimes I would cry to myself, bro. Like, why'd you do this, man? That's it. Your life is done. Even if you get out, you're all fucked up. And then so like after a couple weeks, when I finally could see myself again in the mirror, I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, I still got my teeth. I just got to shave, you know. And I wasn't eating or nothing. And people would I even had a slight seizure one time. Because Xanax, you have seizures, right? It feels like your brain is just sending off electric signals. You're like a shock, like a mini shock.
So you're saying going to jail was a blessing in disguise because you obviously were addicted to something, and then going to jail at that particular time, you're like, oh fuck, you know what? I'm going through, you know what I mean? You're pretty much, all this shit is leaving from the system,
right?
You know what I mean? So you could definitely say it was a blessing in disguise getting locked up.
Honestly,
at that time.
That was the biggest blessing I could have ever had. Like, I want to.
Wow.
For as mad as I was at those police, I kind of want to thank them for going out their way to finding me, because I had the firearm. I had a gross negligence, discharging a firearm with gross negligence, felon in possession of firearm and ammo, and so that's. I was kind of like, I left and I was kind of on the run, and I was chilling, smoking a blunt after I got off work. I was chilling and I fell asleep. They ended up, hey, get out with your hands up. I'm waking up to red and blue lights, and you know they were like. They found the gun and everything. And so maybe a month before that, I was telling my baby, I was like, man, the only way, because I was working at 6 in the morning till 4 p.m. at the time. And I was like, man, the only way I'd be able to kick this shit and get off of it is if I got locked up and I didn't have no responsibilities. A couple weeks later, boom, that happened.
Shit.
So it was the biggest blessing that I finally got that out of my life. Didn't have to I couldn't even do family events, go to Big Bear and stuff, because I had to be where the clinic was. I had to be where my connects was, you know what I'm saying? So it was the hugest blessing. I'm out. I could be a role model for my son. He really was like my motivation in jail. Like, man, he's really looking up to me, and he really cares, and he really loves me, and I love him too. I don't want to let him have to live this life, you know what I'm saying? So when I got out, I was like, you know what? I'm cutting off all the negative people. I'm keeping a distance, and just went from there, man, and it's going good.
Man, that's crazy that you say that, because a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that are hearing this or are going to watch this, go through certain addictions, you know what I mean? Sometimes they don't know how to kick it, but it's all mental sometimes, you know what I mean? We try to numb ourselves from, you know what I mean, from our pains, you know, whatever we're going through at that particular time, you know what I'm saying? And
bro,
you were able to beat that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
Like at the halfway house, I meet a lot of people, man, that they want to stop, but then they go right back to it once tragedy hits or something that's inconvenient to them. They go right back to the drug, and they're starting that pattern all over again. And I kind of took that as a learning lesson for myself, but it's also like knowing that it could happen anytime, and it's kind of like having to always have, you know, be aware of it. And so that's kind of what I've kept, but I'm pretty much solid on, you know, the relationship with my son and not trying to bring that example to him.
Yeah, man. And I think that's always a good thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially having that motivation from your son, you know what I mean, to keep you clean, to keep you, you know what I mean, aware from.
And another motivation, bro, is my good friends that's actually stuck with me, you know, was around asking about me. And all my followers on TikTok, all my subscribers on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you know, like, even sometimes when I'm like, someone will be like, hey, can we do this? And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to look like this in public, and I don't want to let down my fans that are rooting for me, you know what I'm saying, to do good. Like, it's, so everyone that looks at me and follows me and subscribes to me is my motivation to keep it going and do positive and give my son the best life he could have. And
you know what? We're going to talk about that now. You know, obviously you started in Texas, and then, you know what I mean, you moved out here to California. You had a little, you know what I mean, situation. And now, you know what I mean, going through all that stuff, you came out. And what helped you create what you're creating now? And what, you know what I mean, put you in that position to where, you know, like, I'm going to start creating and put this together. How did that come about?
Okay, so check this out. When we met, at that time, I was doing reviews on YouTube about different blunt wraps, different buds, different THC, wax vapes, all that stuff, right? And like, I've always been a stand-up guy, you know, and even in class, I was like the class kind of entertainer. When we used to do in drama class, they'd be like, hey, can you improv something? And I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. I would always volunteer to act out something. And so and in Houston, I was like, you know, I would do my music. I'd be on camera and kind of excelled at it. I was, you know, finding beats. I was able to record from a simple little old school computer. And so when I had got out, my son had showed me TikTok. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I could do this, you know? And I'm already looking, and me, when I'm looking at it, I'm dissecting it. Okay, this person's putting the camera right here. He's using this angle. He's stopping it right here. We're speeding up this, and in my head, it's all calculating. I'm like, I could do this. So then, boom, I did a couple, and my son was like, hey, that's actually pretty good. And then so I see people doing some acting stuff. So I did some acting from the movies I like. How High, that's one of my favorite movies. Bad Boys 2. Anything with Martin Lawrence, that's my favorite actor, man.
Yeah, he's dope.
So I would do video clips from them, and that started to get a little traction, and I was just dropping videos, and then I seen one of the dudes at the program actually was doing jailhouse content, but like comedy, like different types of inmates watching TV, different types of inmates trading food, and then I was like, what? I was like, I'm gonna make a wet burrito, because I was making that every day in jail once I learned about it. Yeah. You know, that would fill you up. Use not too much commissary, and plus everybody throws in, everybody's eating, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, we're eating that, and then I make it like it's nothing, and boom, it goes viral. I'm sitting there like, call my son, hey, I'm at 100K views. I'm at 200K. I wake up the next morning, there's 4 million views. Wow. And I was like, what? All these comments. So I start answering comments. I start getting into it.
That's incredible.
I hit up my boy. He's with Traction Team on YouTube. And he does like gold digger pranks, like, you know, they're at the gas. Hey, what, you want to do this? And like, no. And they pull up to their freaking, you know, red eye or something. So he starts doing. I started talking to him, and actually I have 2 homies in Texas that are like my brothers, Wayne and my boy Kimbro. And so Wayne's brother was the one that was Wayne's brother JJ from Traction Team was like, hey, look, you should do this. Go live just for a little bit, cut it off at 10 minutes, and then apply for the creator fund. So he walked me through all that. And he was like, man, that's crazy, bro. You just went viral overnight. Yeah. And then I started going from there, and I was like, all right, I didn't know people wanted to, you know, see the jailhouse life, but if that's what they want, that's what I know. I'll give it to them. And it just went from there, man, and it's been quite the journey.
And how come you chose a platform that internet loves and hates? So pretty much, you know what I mean, TikTok, remember, got a bad rep at one time. Why do you choose TikTok to you know what I mean?
Okay, so TikTok was the major thing for me because it had its own editing app in it. Wow. And my son was watching it, and it was popping at the time. So a lot of people were watching it, and it was during COVID hit. Everybody was at home, stuck on their phones, stuck on their, you know, Fire Sticks or whatever. So that just like opened up a whole thing for me. And I'm stuck in the halfway house. I couldn't leave nowhere. Plus it's COVID, so we're on quarantine. Can't even leave the house, go outside or whatever. And that just found a way for me to stay positive and enjoy what I'm doing, stay motivated to keep doing what I'm doing, plus have fun. Yeah. And, you know, it was just accept. And then I told someone, I said, hey, I'm not going to stop TikTok. I was like, I'm not going to give up until I blow up. I was like, I'm going to blow up on TikTok. I'm going to keep posting. If I don't get no view, I'm going to keep doing it and trying different things. And that's crazy because people were like, man, I remember you telling me you were going to do this. And people would be like, oh, all right, yeah, for sure. All right, cool. And then now it's what I do.
That's crazy. What's the one video that changed everything for you, dog? Like, what's that one video that, you know, you posted and you're like, it went.
Well, like it was the wet burrito.
Wow.
Like, and it was crazy because I didn't have no good lighting. I just had my iPhone 11 Pro Max that I had just got out of jail with. I didn't even know if I still had it because I was so fucked up going in. I don't even know what inventory I had on me. So when I got out, I was like, oh, yeah, I still got my phone. I'm looking through it. And so when I recorded that first video, it looks like I was really in a jail cell but I was in the halfway house, you know, the bunks. But it was so dark around me. You could barely see me. I'm like, hey, Bunky, what's up? You want to make something to eat? And we pull out our bags, and I kind of, you know, stage a little bit, give him a bag with stuff in it, and then I made it, And sure enough, people were like, "Oh shit, I love that video, man." And then I asked someone that was there at the halfway. He was like, "Man, that shit looks so authentic because the lighting sucks and all this stuff, you know." So that kind of worked in my favor, man.
So how do you create content for your audience? You know, go through the steps of what you do to create the content that you do.
Okay, so since my jailhouse stuff is the one that put me on the map, I will not deter from that, and I will stay posting jailhouse content because even though I posted so many videos, I still got a lot more to come. Ideas. I have a whole list of ideas I write down. But I also I wanted to show different aspects of me. First, it was just jailhouse content, and then I started posting a couple other comedy stuff, using sounds and stuff, and I was getting a lot of traction from that. And I was like, finally, I could open up myself, you know, and I would look at the comments. And I would answer to some of them. People asked me for a lot of stuff, and I just answered it. Gave them what they want, man. I gave the audience what they want, and it worked out.
That's awesome, man. I think about it now because remember, I when you started doing that, you know what I mean, I was like, damn, dog, you found your niche. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah, yeah. And I posted on one of your things, and I was like, damn, this is super creative. This is super dope. You know what I mean? That you're creating something that obviously, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you had the opportunity to do, but you're showing other people, you know what I mean, your experience. And through that, you are showing people your experience, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know what I mean, what makes you stand out from other creators on TikTok? What do you think makes you stand out from other creators on TikTok?
What I think is that since I've kind of been in the creative mentality since I was little, cameras, music, I would always kind of put my own twist on things, and I kind of knew what I wanted to see in a video that was catching. So I knew what angles I wanted to use, showing the stuff close up, slamming the food down, all the sound effects, all the facial expressions, all the little things make a video great.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I already knew that in my head. So when I saw people doing stuff, I was like, I could do that. You know, I know the facial expressions. I know the reactions. I know how to make the food look good and presentable. And it just all fell into place, bro. It was the biggest blessing of my life, man.
That's crazy because, you know what I mean, to be honest, you do have a niche because not too many people could do what you do.
Yeah, and surprising, I didn't even know that, you know, because I seen a couple people do it too, and it's crazy to see that I'm one of the original jailhouse content creators when it just kind of fell into my hand as a second nature. I was doing that anyway.
Yeah.
I knew recording and video anyway. Like I know how to sound way. I know how to, you know, work all this stuff and edit it and everything. And so it was just like a perfect avenue for me. You know, everything just kind of worked out.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
I remember
man.
all that. You know what I mean? But obviously through the process, you know what I mean, you're going to find the positive people, you know what I mean, giving you comments. You're going to find the people that are neutral, you know what I mean? And obviously you're going to have trolls. How do you deal with the trolls, people giving you them negative comments? How do you deal with that? It's because it's obviously part of your job, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a creator.
So the way I see it is, okay, so one thing, if I'm recording in front of someone, like I tell my son too, I'm like, who cares what they think? They're not, you probably won't ever see them again.
100%.
And, you know, just do you. And so when I would be like doing my video, I get a lot of, like I said, 50% of my comments are hate, 40% is love, 10% is just random stuff like, how will this affect LeBron's legacy? Or will my mom get mad at me? Or something, you know, some crazy stuff. So when I had the negative comments, sometimes I wouldn't even read them sometimes. Like I would just kind of glance through it and then I put a heart on it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the heart.
Yeah.
Like I like it. And so I wouldn't take, at first I was kind of, because people were like, hey man, this fool said this. I'm like, you know, I was thinking about it, but then I was like, man, who cares? I got all these people that love me. I'm getting the views. The haters are giving. You gotta have the haters in life because that's when you know
100%.
you're doing something good, man. If they're hating on you. So I started seeing that as a plus because I started talking to my roommates and stuff. And they're like, man, keep doing you, man. You got that 40% that loves you. Then give them what they want, you know, and don't worry about the haters. So I probably couldn't make it without the haters, man. You know, I thank you for the haters.
Yeah, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of negativity, you know what I'm saying, sometimes comes from people that, you know what I mean, want to do what you're doing or don't have the capability to do what you're doing. So I feel a lot of the hate comes from those type of people, you know what I'm saying, that don't have the courage, that are fearful to accomplish your dreams and aspirations. So, you know what I mean, you're doing your thing, dog, and you know what I mean, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, dog, people that are watching you today. You know what I mean? How many followers do you have on TikTok?
A little over 1.6 million.
You know what I mean? So you have 1.6 million eyes on you, and I feel like a lot of these people are looking up to you. You know what I'm saying? I do read some of your comments.
like the other day, bro, I had received a letter in the mail saying he's a special needs kid, and I'm really an inspiration to him to you know, keep going. So, bro, that like really touched
Do you get a
my
lot
life.
of those? Do you get a lot of those?
I get my share of fan mail, but you know, some are girls and some are just, you know, love your stuff. But this one really stood out to me out of all of them. So I really went out my way. I took the my merch, the bussin' from dpzmerch.com. I took some stuff that I had got for myself just to promote, and I sent him everything I had, you know, a shirt, my stickers. I gave him autographed pictures.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, you know, thank you, man. Like, this is the type of feedback that drives me and wants, you know, has me keep going, because there are days where, you know, you kind of get unmotivated and it's tough. But the thing that separates the great from the regular is those that are able to make it through and stay consistent even during the downtime. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've kind of like always told myself, is as long as I stay consistent and keep doing what I'm doing, who cares what the haters say? I'm gonna be great.
Yeah, man, you know, and that's very important. You know what I mean, to believe in yourself, believe on what you're doing. You know what I mean? Obviously, like you said, man, a lot of people look up to you, even that person with special needs, that kid with special needs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, it's so crazy, bro.
Even crazier, because I read a comment about this girl, right? She's like, oh, you know, me and my kid watch you every morning and you're an inspiration. Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel about people actually, you know, telling you these things in your comments? And, you know, obviously it's new to you. You know what I mean? How does that make you feel, man?
Bro, it feels great. And my main thing is to always stay humble, because I ain't forget where I came from. I just came from the streets, going through all this stuff, going through jail, thinking my life was going to be over, thinking I'm going to have to, you know, I'm going to stay in jail forever, you know, and, you know, having the times I had of where, like, what am I living for? I'm not doing nothing, to a point where I feel like I'm living for something. There's people watching me. There's people that's going through the same things that I went through, that, you know, are addicted, or they're causing a lot of trouble. They're going to jail, and they think the life is over after that. Fuck, this is going to be on my record for life, you know. But if you stay focused, I'm 100% sure everyone that has a mindset that they don't want to go back to how they were living and they want to change it and move forward, they're able to do it. And I'm kind of a prime example, because I had zero going for me.
Wow, man. And that's very inspirational that you even say that, because there's a lot of people, like I said, are going to watch this, and there's a lot of people are going to be like looking at your story and be like, damn, this guy came from the bottom, you know what I'm saying, came from Texas, came from getting locked up, you know what I mean, and now making something of himself, not only for himself, for your kid, and for everybody else that are watching you, dog. So yeah, most definitely, you're an inspiration.
Someone sent me a video of my video being played on their living room television, and then their daughter, which is like 8 years old, watching me, and as I'm eating, she's like, bussin'.
That's dope.
And then so it was like, wow, you know, I'm actually impacting kids, the youth, people coming up. I'm impacting people that's going through the same thing as me. Like, it just opened up a whole thing for me to stay motivated. And, you know, that's why a lot of my videos, I try not to do nothing too bad, like cussing too much or drinking or drugs, anything like that, because I don't want to give that example. My son is my biggest fan, you know, and I'm trying to give him a good example. And plus, all the kids that watching me, man, you know, I'm trying to show them that they can have fun and live life positively.
Has this, you know, upcoming fame, has it made it easier for you to get dates and also being recognized by strangers?
Oh, as far as recognizing strangers, man.
How does that?
Even my son, sometimes he'll be like, bro, everywhere we went today, you took a picture with someone, they recognized you. So honestly, I didn't think 1.6 million was that much, because there's a lot of people in the world. Plus, there's people that have like 40 million, 100 million. So I'm thinking, not too many people gonna write. But bro, it's crazy because I have the audience on YouTube.
Yeah.
Almost 1 million. Plus, I got 1.6 million on TikTok, 500,000 on YouTube, 100K on Instagram. So everywhere I go, there's so many. I'm like, how many people can write? Even when I went to Big Bear with the family, people were up there like, oh, I just seen you. Hey, they're coming up to me at the store. I'm with my family, like, hey, you see these people take a picture? Like.
That's crazy.
And I always, even when people are like, hey, you're DPZ, and I'll ask them, hey, you want to take a picture? Because some people say I was too afraid to ask. So I asked them, I just try to stay humble and show the people, give the people like me, the real me. So it's really nice, man.
How do people react towards you when they see you? Do you like, do they want to hug you? They want a picture? They want a fucking autograph?
So let me give you the different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Some of them, I was at Shoe Palace the other day.
Okay.
And I'm just giving an example because this probably happened a couple times already.
Yeah.
I'm paying for the stuff and the guy's like looking at me. And I'm like, all right, well, he probably recognized me or something. And then he's just kind of stuck. And I was like, oh, so you're going to scan that one or make sure it was on sale or something? And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry. He just kind of looked familiar to me. And I was like, I always say bussin'. They're like, oh, yeah, you're him. Oh, shit, I watched your video. And then some of them will be like, they'll run up to me and be like, bro, oh, my gosh, I love your videos. Can I get a picture? Yeah, for sure. And then sometimes I'll at first I wasn't used to it. So when I'd be in a store, and sometimes security would look at me or some of the workers, and I'm like, man, they think I'm trying to steal something, man, and here acting all weird. And then so like when I finally kind of get to talking distance to them, they'd be like, hey, I got a question, man. Are you DPZ? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I fucking knew it, man. I was looking at you, and I just wanted to make sure. So it's something I had to get used to, and it's something that it's a good example for my son too, because he's around me a lot. I take him almost everywhere I go. So when he sees me like giving people handshakes, asking what they want, talking to them, and being a normal person, it's a good example for him too. So that's what I do a lot, man. Unless like I'm rushing somewhere, but when I'm rushing, I even try to be like, oh yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for tuning in. You want a quick pic or something, So it's cool, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of that too, man, because obviously, we haven't seen each other for a while, but when you came last week and I had my homie from across the street, which owns G Clothing,
right?
You know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, I know this dude. He does, so-and-so on TikTok, and he makes the food. And I was blown away by that because I'm like, damn, my boy's influence is actually hitting a lot of demographic of people, man, and that's very important.
Yeah, like, even when I go to the gym, man, like, people come up, take pictures with me. I had one dude the other day who he's like verified on Instagram, and he was sitting there looking on his phone and kind of looking at me. I'm like, what the fuck is this fool looking at? Is it, And he comes up to me and he was like, hey, bro, I love your videos, man. And
that's crazy.
I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I just want to see you got any tips for me on TikTok. And so we just communicated, and it's cool meeting a lot of people, It's just the thing right now, bro. I'm trying to surround myself with influential people in a positive way that have motivation and dreams. So I kind of did set boundaries. The halfway house teaches, they make you take classes.
Oh wow,
it's mandatory. And so I'll be in the classes and I'll be participating. There's a lot I learned from there, like setting your boundaries, changing your thinking. Like when you have negative thoughts or even negative self-talk, you have to recognize that and be like, okay, I need to do positive self-talk.
Yes.
So that really helped me out a lot, man. And so I did set a lot of boundaries with like the old people I would chill with, and I just, if they would call, I'd be like, yeah, man, how you doing? No, I can't really come through. I'm busy. I'm doing something. So that's why I'm kind of more family oriented right now, because I definitely, I repeated that pattern too many times of getting locked up, gaining a lot of stuff and losing it all.
Wow.
Building myself back up, losing it all. And I ain't trying to do that again, man. I'm too old for that.
I feel like that's how life is sometimes, man. Life will, bring you up, bring you down. Bring you up again and bring you down again. It's just, all a learning experience.
Life is steady a constant test, man.
Yeah, man. And I feel like that's very important that you actually recognize that. You recognize, you know what, this is a time where I have to change my life to do something positive. You know what I mean? For me, people that look up to you, people, your son, you know what I mean? Just your circle in general, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And another question I have for you, dog, is, you know what I mean, do you get paid from your influence? Are you getting paid from TikTok, or is money coming in from all that?
Okay, so I first started getting paid on TikTok, and it's not something that you're getting by. You know, you're gonna get your food, you're gonna take care of yourself. But TikTok is more of a platform to get your name out there,
correct,
blow up, have people eyes on you. And you know, I think for 1 million views they give you like $50. You know, so it wasn't all that. It was enough for me to eat at the halfway house. I even bought me a little car there, which ended up blowing up on me pretty much. So that's what I was doing for a while, and then I finally reached 100K or over 10K subscribers on YouTube. I started getting paid from them, and then Facebook also sent out an invitation, and this was all right before Christmas, when I was like, wow, man, what am I gonna do? I gotta get presents for everyone. So finally I was able to use all the money I had left from TikTok on Christmas, and I spent everything I had, knowing that I had this YouTube and Facebook that were saying I was gonna receive it, you know, at the end of January. So I was really dependent on it. It happened. I was able to buy my new car, and now I'm able to take care of my son and show him a different way of living. Yeah, but just a positive way. So it's I do get paid from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
How many videos did it take for you to go viral? And was it the same exact video? Because I've seen a lot of people on TikTok make the same video over and over and over again. I don't know if you ever seen that one guy. I don't know. I made a video of him where I'm stronger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm better.
Yeah, I'm better.
Yeah.
So he makes the same exact video over and over and over and over. Exactly the same. Do you do that? And how long did it take you to go viral?
Okay, so I went viral on my 15th video. And so I wasn't getting paid at the time. So when I started getting paid, that video didn't even count towards the funds, you know what I'm saying? So I had to keep on doing what I was doing. So I'm like, well, if people want gel food, I'm going to do gel food. So I would try different things and the stuff that we make. Because I've been to the TDC in Texas. I've been to Harris County. I've been to Orange County here, and then L.A. And it's all different commissary, different items.
Wow.
And sometimes people will call some of the same stuff different names. So I started doing stuff that was known in the South, stuff that's known in the West, and putting it all together. And that's kind of like how I kind of capitalize off of my past experience, you know? Yeah. And so when it says like, it's crazy because I kind of learned the perfect formula for me was, hey, Bunky, I'm going to make this. And that just automatically grabbed the attention. They would see what I'm making and then see the end result and then busting, you know? Yeah. So it was like the perfect formula, bro. And it just worked good, man. And it still is. So that's what people know me about. But like when people use the same sound and they switch it up, yeah, I've seen a lot of people go viral. So if that's what you want to do and that's what's working, then do it.
Yeah. How many videos did it take for you to go viral?
15. 15
videos.
Yeah.
So everybody that wants to go viral on TikTok, it might not take 15 videos.
No.
You might not be as good as my boy right here, but you know what I mean? It takes consistency.
Consistency.
You know
that's
what I mean?
Key. Don't give up. And even after you blow up, there's going to be times where you're going to be like, dang, these views suck. And then as long as you stay persistent, boom, you're going to blow up again. And it's going to be good. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And just keep going, man. That's the whole key. Because I see a lot of people, so many people that I would see on TikTok a year later not doing the same thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They would give up or they would lose the motivation for it and the drive. So that's the kind of thing, like I said, for people to be great is to believe in yourself and stay persistent and not give up, because this is what you want to do. Then you're going to put your all towards it until it works.
That's beautifully said, man. A lot of people give up in the middle of their journey. You know what I mean? I talk to my other boys, you know what I'm saying, that we have podcasts. We always talk about, you know what I mean, why do people give up in the middle of their journey? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're not patient.
Yeah,
sometimes they don't see the bigger picture at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Like
it's like going to the gym, man. You're not gonna see results on the first day, but if you keep going, you're gonna end up seeing great results.
100%.
The harder you work, the more results you're gonna see, and that's pretty much how it applies to everything in life.
Yeah.
Especially the social media stuff, because there are gonna be times where you might have a lot of negativity, and it might bring you down if you really take it personally. But a lot of people that sometimes make comments, they just say that so they could try to, either be funny or get in your head or something, and you just kind of have to brush that off, man. Laugh at it or something.
Yeah. I know we talked about a video you did where you were giving back, you know what I'm saying? And, I wanted to ask you how important it is for you to give back now that you have, this platform, and this following, how important it is for you to give back, and what are you looking forward in the future to give back?
Okay, so something personal about me I don't really talk about is my mom is homeless.
Oh, wow.
So that came out for me from Texas, and my aunt is homeless too. So, but it's the life they chose. I've tried to talk to them and everything, and they even told me this is what I chose. You can't change it. So I see their struggle, and I would always help out, and I would be like, damn, I can't help out the other people you're with. And so when I finally was able to, I was really excited to do it. So I went to like the train tracks where everyone would be chilling under the bridge, gave the homeless food, and I documented it because it was pretty much for me. And then I just ended up posting it, and I had good feedback from it. So I do want to keep, because there's also a lot of people that are in tragic situations that have no control over it, and any type of help necessary. Like, you could be like, oh, this person's homeless, like, I'm looking down on him, I don't want to, he should have been doing something in his life, but you never know. So they feel grateful when you help them out. And plus, like, if you were in that situation, wouldn't you want somebody to help you out?
100%. You know what I'm
Sure,
saying?
yeah.
And it's important, you know what I'm saying, to give back, especially when you have a certain following, certain people. A lot of people on TikTok try to do that, and I know you do it from the bottom of your heart. You're not just trying to look for followers or shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's very important, man, and I applaud you for that, bro. You know what I mean? What's the biggest perk of being on an TikTok influencer? What's the biggest perk, do you think? It could be influence people. It could be,
Well, like, being able to make money and survive off of what I already love doing, plus being able to meet new people and have like positive people in my life, from me just coming from this, street life of a lot of negativity and dark places in my life, to this brighter spot in my life where I'm in my son's life. I'm showing other fathers that they could be a great father to their son, being themselves. Their son can also be their friend if you treat him like that, but also be their father. Not to give up in life, because people are like, oh, I might have got a felony and my life is over, and it's just you can't change the past, but you could definitely affect the future. So that's what you want to work to, man. You don't want to dwell on the past. The past is going to kill you if you dwell on it. If you put that behind you and keep moving forward, you're going to make progress. And being on TikTok, YouTube, being a social media influencer, it's really good to see that people, do react positively, and I could make an impact in their life just by doing that. So that's my perk for me.
Yeah, that's dope. That's actually a very dope perk, because people look up to, like I said, people look up to you. Not only that, people are looking up to you where, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could, do something dope on TikTok, or, coming from where you're coming. Now that you're going to know your story, people are going to get inspired by that. You know what I mean? So what do you want? What are you looking forward to the future, and what you have ahead, and what are your thoughts as far as what you want to do going forward?
So for me, I had just got out the halfway house, so I feel like this is kind of just the beginning on the second chapter of this whole thing I'm got into.
So you just got out got out,
like the end of August. So it's honestly like I made a video on YouTube talking about it, but like sometimes I wake up in the place I'm at, and I feel lonely because I'm used to having cellies and roommates and bunkies and stuff. So I'm used to be like, hey, what's up? Good morning. What you got planned today? So I'm just, I kind of got into my head a little bit, but then I kind of started telling myself what I learned the thing, changing my thoughts, being more positive, and staying motivated. So it's it's a changing point in my life that I think I could, you know, really capitalize on, and also make an impact in other people's lives, and that's my motivation for it.
Yeah, man. And I know I see you creating different type of videos too, man. I know now you're doing the jailhouse stuff, but also you're doing you know, where you're going to different spots now and you're tasting the food, and if you and you're saying if it's busting or disgusting, you know, busting.
Hey, so with that, when
how did that come about?
When I had first got my 4-hour pass or 8-hour pass, my son told me I should try Raising Cane's. And I was like, well, I'm going to make a video of it because people have been like, when are you going to get out? When are you going to do something? And so I made a video of me going to Raising Cane's and trying it with my son. And that hit like 2 million views right when I posted. And I was like, oh, shit, people are watching me try stuff. And then so once I started seeing like other videos of people trying foods, and I would myself kind of want to be like, does that taste good? I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it and I'm going to give an honest opinion. If it's gonna be good. Like, I have a pretty big palate, food taste palate, because my mom is from Thailand and my dad's Cuban, and
nice.
I grew up usually eating, and then I'm from the South, so they're making chitlins. They're also making Thai food. My mom's making.
So you're
Cuban
not picky.
Food. Nah, like the thing is, a lot of countries have their own delicacies that may not seem appealing to us in the U.S., but it's a delicacy for a reason. There has to be a certain type of taste for it, you know, to be acquired from that. So that's what I try to reach. I try to go in trying different things, and I want to do that. I want to try all these different delicacies because there's a reason people like it, and it's a delicacy for some reason, even though it doesn't look appealing. So I try to open up. I try to keep my palate, you know, open for that. Some things it's hard to get through though.
Okay, now talking about that, I was gonna ask you, what is the best thing you ever tasted? You know what I mean? And what's the most disgusting thing you ever tasted and you're like, nah, I'm never gonna taste this again?
Best thing, that's tough, man, because I tried a lot of crazy stuff that was actually good. Like the balut, the fertilized duck egg that had the embryo in it.
I seen that.
Yeah, like honestly,
that looked crazy.
So the first time I tried it, I didn't know how to try it, and I ended up eating it raw, bro. A raw fertilized duck egg that still had the red veins in it and everything. I was like, well, if this is what they do, let's try it out. And I tried it, and I was like, bro, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And people were like, bro, what the heck? So it went viral because I ate it raw. So even I had a lot of my engagement from the Philippines. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, you're supposed to cook it. So I ended up doing another video of me trying it cooked and how they recommended it with like some vinegar or spice or something. And it actually was pretty good, you know, like keeping the palate open, because I do like, you know, eggs here, regular chicken eggs. So when I had tried it, the duck fetus, they said you have to drink it first, the juice, and then you eat the insides. It really just tasted like a boiled egg, man. And the duck doesn't really taste like nothing either. You're not going to notice. If you were to take that duck on a spoon and eat it with your eyes blindfolded, you wouldn't even be able to figure out, like, you wouldn't taste no feathers or nothing. It's just kind of like the whites of the egg. So ended up being pretty good. And then I've tried a lot of different mixtures, like hacks where, like, one of them was putting mustard onto watermelon.
Oh man, I seen that on TikTok a lot.
Yeah, so I was like, it has to be good some way. So when I tasted it, I pretty much spit that out right away, man. A lot of stuff, I'll sit there and I'll try to taste it, but that one was like a no-go for me.
It's
and
like
people
sour,
eat Oreos
sweet.
with mustard too, and cotton candy. So I had tried that, and I couldn't do that either.
Look at some pregnant women and shit.
Yeah, man, yeah. So I'm not afraid to try anything, man. Even if it was a bug or something, I would try it once and tell you what I think about it. Or try a food hack to see what. Even spicy foods, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen I did the little nitro gummy bear, 9 million Scoville heat units, and then I did the one chip challenge back to back.
Yeah, is that one chip really that hot, or are people fucking just saying it's hot?
So with the one chip, it's hot. It's really hot.
One chip.
Yeah, okay, but once you get past that mouth burn, you're cool. So all it is the capsaicin in it, causing sensation in your mouth, your nerves to, you know, go crazy because it's hot.
Wow.
But when I ate the Carolina Reaper, bro, like I was like, okay, it's like the one chip. It's gonna go away. I'm drinking something cold or whatever afterwards, and I'm like, all right, it's gone. Like 30 minutes later, and then like an hour later, bam, my stomach is just burning on fire, man. Like I really thought I was gonna go to the hospital, man. Cause
wow.
I had someone tell me that they seen someone on YouTube try it and they had to call the ambulance on themselves. So I was like, oh, so I'm sitting there and I'm new to the halfway house, the place they just moved me to. So all my roommates are like, bro, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like, oh, fuck. They're like, you all right, man? I'm like, I just ate a Carolina Reaper. They're like, why? And so I after like 8 hours of that pain, it finally went away, man.
And then you had to fucking shit it out.
Oh my gosh. For like a week, it was burning.
Oh,
like,
man.
I
bro.
even had to get like those little baby wipes.
Oh,
because I was just scraping my stuff.
Yeah, dog.
And so when I did the one chip challenge is just kind of a mouth burn, but the gummy bear, which is 9 million Scoville units,
that's
pretty
insane,
hot,
bro.
That gave me a little bit of that stomach pain I had with the Carolina Reaper.
Yeah.
But the Carolina Reaper, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have ice cream or
but for people that don't know, that what you say it was Carolina Reaper.
Yeah.
What is that? For people that don't know.
It's the world's hottest chili pepper.
And you
hottest
ate
pepper.
that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I tried to find the biggest pot I could too, and I was like, and then so once I bit into it, it puffed out. And I just felt it like, I was like, oh
my God.
Yeah. And so that stomach pain was the worst thing I don't ever want to go through again. And so when I did the one chip with the gummy bear, it started giving me that feeling again. I was like, oh, great. Because it comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, and you're like, all right, it's gone. A couple minutes later, you're like, oh, it comes back hard. And I started feeling that. And then I started drinking, whatever I could find, milk or. Like, he gave me some milk, but it was expired. I'm like, oh, man, what am I supposed to do with this?
He gave you some cheese. And
cottage
cheese.
I had ice cream and stuff, so I was a little bit more prepared than the Carolina because I couldn't even ask anybody for help. I'm new to this place.
Yeah.
Everyone's, fresh out of jail or whatever on the phone doing their own thing. I can't be like, hey, bro, can you, serve me and give me some milk or something? So it was tough at that time.
So how does it feel now? You know what I mean? Talking about, you being out of the halfway house. How does it feel being, not in the halfway house and having your own little location and being on your own? How does that, how does that feel?
It's still an adjustment. But one thing that always sticks to my head is not to change the formula that got me here.
Mm-hmm.
Still do the jailhouse things like I was there. Also, make the time for it every week. Whatever schedule I set for myself is what I need to stick by. Don't get caught up in being out, having fun, doing things, and not focusing on, what I do. So that's something I had to, come to terms with. Like, sometimes I even tell my son, because I couldn't move back into the house because my son's mother moved in, the mother-in-law, when I got locked up to help with rent. So I had to get my own place if I wanted to move out the halfway house when I was finally eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I even tell him, sometimes if you can always call me and I'll talk to you, but sometimes I won't be able to come over because I need to focus on what I'm doing and not get sidetracked. So I kind of try to keep the same mentality as if I was still in the halfway house as far as how my day went and how I used to plan things out. Plan what I'm gonna do during the week, and so it's kind of hard out here, a little bit harder, but I'm learning it. I'm learning how to handle and manage the time better.
That's cool, man. And I feel that as somewhat of a free man, because I know you still have to, go and check in and do all this stuff, I feel like you have more of a freedom to actually create and do different things.
Yeah. The only thing is I don't have the bunk beds. So some of the videos, luckily, I'm really cool with a lot of people I was at because I was a good example there. I did mess up one time and had to start all over again because one of my roommates called a bunch of girls over and they had alcohol. They had a lot of stuff.
Man.
So you're not supposed to do that in there. And I ended up doing it and partaking in it. And then so afterwards, I had to do it all over again. I was like, man, I ain't doing this over again. I'm going to get it right. So I would see a lot of the people when they sneak stuff in and do things. I'm like, man, I'm cool. You're going to do you. I'm not going to say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But, don't ask me for it because I'm straight. And that's that's kind of how the living went. There is always something that can deter you from, what you're trying to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting out is like, okay, well, there's going to be those influences that are not going to have consequences about what they're doing, and it's going to be a stronger influence. So I just have to be aware of that. And that's kind of what I go by on a daily thing, see what people are doing and if I want to be a part of that or not.
And for people that don't know where to find you, as far as they want to find your content, and they want to know a little bit more about what you're doing, can you please let them know your your social media, where they can find you and all that stuff? That way people can look for you when they see this.
All right, so TikTok, DPeasy 2099, YouTube, DPeasy 2099, Instagram, DPeasy 2099, and Facebook, Daniel Fight Tai Song, which is spelled PHAITHAISONG, and it's a long name. It's Thai, but that's where I never really wanted to put out my real name, but my Facebook started blowing up, and I was getting a lot of traction, and it's something I kind of came to accept. And also a lot of people, and I don't think I've ever gone through over it, is people are like, what's 2099? Are you from the 909? Are you from Stockton and stuff? I stayed in Stockton, but I'm not from there.
Yeah.
But honestly, that originated from when I was like 16.
Mm-hmm.
I was making an AOL account, and I was like, I put Daniel P, because even when I did my rapping and stuff, like music, I would always try to keep my name so I can get my name out there. And so I put Daniel P, and I was like, man, what should I put? And I was like, what year am I going to kick my feet up and retire from the game of hustling and staying on my grind? And I was like, the year 2099.
No.
So I did that when I was 16 with that thought. So I created the same thing when I started my TikTok, and now it's known.
Wow. That's incredible.
So the people are so confused on where that came from.
That's the answer.
That's
right
the answer
there.
right there. Yeah.
So now, going back, I know you mentioned music a couple times, man, and that you dabble here and there on music. You know what I mean? Not only you dabble, because I know you told me you did, opened up when you were younger for, you said Slim Thug and all these other dudes. You know what I mean? Are we going to hear anything in the future, any album, any single from DPeasy?
So, like, I still dabble in the music, and when I hear, it's crazy because even with the videos, how I told you I would dissect it, even with the music, I'm like, dang, what kind of drums did they use on that? And so I would listen to all that, or even their format of how they made their song, of like a bridge into the hook, or just straight two hooks, two verse. So I would look at all that, and also so like my phone is full of different rhymes and ideas that I've had about making songs. It's just something that I haven't been too active on, because I just feel like to keep doing what I'm doing as far and not get deterred. So I try to put my 100%. Even sometimes when I feel like I have stuff to do more important, I feel like I'm missing something if I don't give my 100% on the video. So that's kind of what I've been focused on. But music is what I love to do as well, man, as far as the video. So I think I am just gonna come out with some stuff, and eventually, when the time is right, and if it's not something to where I'm gonna go platinum as a rapper or something, it's just something I want to put out because it's what I love doing.
Yeah, man, that's important. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, that love music, that love to create, you know what I'm saying? I say you just do it, make things happen. Don't worry about what people say. Just do it because you love what you do. And
that's what I did with the social media. It's just doing me, and people love me. Like, it made me feel better, like, it's good. Like, it's motivation, man.
What's the best advice you ever been given?
Probably what I was talking about earlier, where I wasn't given, but I heard it from Nipsey Hussle's mouth. If you surround yourself with 5 broke motherfuckers that have no dreams or ambitions, you're gonna be the 6th dude. And if you surround yourself with people that have goals and ambition, that's gonna rub off on you. And that's one of the biggest things that I really think about on a daily basis. Like, this dude's a good person, and He's cool and everything, but he doesn't have no dreams. So I try to help out as much as possible. Why don't you do this? Why don't you check this out? But if they're not taking no guidance, you know, it's kind of tough, man. I want to be able to help everyone, but I can't.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's and some people, like I said, remember I told you about, you know what I mean, situation with my boy, you know, sometimes people don't believe themselves the way you see them and you believe in them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to have that belief within yourself for people to see and for them to push you to that ultimate limit where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, because
you know what
you
I mean?
could try to help them and put out all your efforts, but if they're not putting efforts in, you're like, man, I've been doing all this, man, trying to get you going. You got to believe in yourself. And when they don't, it's not like you give up on them. It's just like, you know what? Hit me up when you're ready. You know, when you feel like you're ready, then we'll do this. But I can't just keep putting on this effort and you're not, you know, taking it as for, you know, as what it is. So, I mean, that's going to happen with a lot of people, man. And hopefully, like, most of the people that have the big dreams, they will get motivated in some time to be like, you know what? I'm going all out.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna take, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go halfway on something and expect to be successful on it.
That's the truth, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, people have to look within themselves, you know what I mean, to really see, you know what I mean, where they could go. You know what I'm saying? It all comes from you. You know what I mean? You can never expect somebody to, you know what I mean, give a handout or tell you, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do for you. You have to actually, you know what I'm saying, accomplish certain things within yourself, you know what I mean? And that's very important, I feel, man. And, you know, let me ask you this question. I mean, I know you jumped from, you know what I mean, jail to jail to jail. Out of all the places you've been, what was the worst jail you've been at?
Bro, when I got to LA, first of all, I'm withdrawn. I'm withdrawn from all this stuff in LA County, first of all.
Yeah.
Second, once they put me in the regular general population, once they found out I had no mental issues or anything, I was just withdrawn. Bro, it was the dirtiest place, the dirtiest jail I've been to, and it was during COVID, so the guards didn't want to walk down and do whatever they have to do. So people, it was like the inmates ran that, man. They was popping open their cells, going, running everywhere. I'm like,
wow, they
let that be done here? People had jewelry, like they had a lot of stuff from the streets, man. Jordan shoes, jewelry, you know, all the stuff that would be illegal in there, they was getting, and it was just so crazy to me, and people were fighting. They were going into other cells and fighting, so it was just like, wow, this place, like Texas was pretty crazy, but you know, it was in a dorm. They would, you know, they'd have like rumbles and stuff a lot. I've been in, you know, around a couple rumbles that happened, but out of every place I've been to, LA County was the most, like, bro, even when we went in intake, they had to sleep in these beds for like 24 hours in a dorm that was flooded. Wow. And then they would give us your socks, your little bedroll, you know, with the towel and stuff, and they're like, hey, if you drop it in the water, we're not giving you any new ones. And I'm like, where am I at, man? This is just dirty. Where's the health freaking department or something, you know? And so it was that going in the holding cells, the toilets would be stuffed up full of toilet paper and flies and dookie all up in there, man.
Oh my God.
I was like, gosh, this is the worst, man. I even told them, I was like, hey, can you send me back to Orange County at the farm I was at?
Wow.
You know, yeah.
That's crazy, man. And I don't know. I guess LA County has a bad reputation, bro.
Yeah,
just
bro,
to be just like that, man.
LA County was pretty damn crazy. I mean, I never really got into any trouble or anything with people or nothing, because I'm pretty cool. I'm cool with everybody, man. The homies, the others. I ran with the others and the blacks, and I'm cool with the white. Like, I was just cool with everybody, man. Like, you know how I am. That's what I am. You know, like, my family is full of different races: white, black, Mexican, you know, Asian. So I don't really see color in people. Oh, also, when I came from Texas and I had got locked up in Orange County, that was the first time I had experienced the segregation. From Texas, they didn't have that. They put everybody with everyone. You chill. You know, everyone's cool with everybody unless, you know, they got their own personal beef. But then coming into Orange County, California, the first time I got locked up, they were like, who you run with? And I was like, I don't gangbang, man. They're like, no, who do you run with? I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what are you? I'm like, my race? They're like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm Thai and Cuban, Asian and Cuban. And they were like, that's a whole two different things, you know. Who do you want? Where do you want to go? And I'm like, I want to go with the Asians, I guess, you know. So that's how it started. And now from that, for like a week, I was like, damn, they're racist like this in here. And then so I started seeing, like, you know, some races, or they call them cars in the jail. Some cars would have their own politics. Like, you can't trade milk, you can't give something to another race, or else you're gonna get, you know, disciplined. And I've seen it happen. I'm like, man, why can't we all just get along? You know?
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest, most different things I had to ever embrace, and I was just amazed by it. Like, the state of California pretty much segregates you and makes you separate from your race or from other races, you know, like on
That's
purpose.
so crazy.
But I guess it stems back from a lot of past history and riots and stuff. So I guess I could see it. And the thing is, when people go into jail, they get put in that mindset, you know. So it kind of affects a lot of people in a negative way too. If they were never even thought like that, once they get in jail and they say, okay, well, this is who we run with and this is who we're going against or not cool with, then when you get out, some people stick with that mentality and never change. And then it just makes them, you know, racist, I guess.
Yeah, that's insane, because as far as I know, that's usually how, I mean, jails are. You know, everybody sticks with their own kind, and you know, I'm kind of sad to say, but that's the way that I guess the politics are in jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, in Texas, I never had to deal with any of that, so it was really surprising when I came here and seeing that. And you know, I've learned to accept it, but I'm not gonna let it change my mentality on people. You know, I'm still cool with it. Like, all my cellies, actually, they were like, hey, you want us to move you into a place with more people of your own? And I was like, I'm cool with where I'm at, you know. And they're all homies, Southsiders, you know. And it was cool. They had asked their big homie, is it cool to eat with me? And he was like, yeah, he's your cellie, man, you know. So we would eat together, and it was cool. And in Orange County, the brothers and Asians would run together. So, you know, I mean, growing up from Houston, I was always, you know, around, you know, like a black neighborhood and stuff. So those were all my friends. Like, all my best friends and brothers are black. And so, I also had some really good Mexican homies too. Like still I talk to today. And so it's like, I don't believe in none of that, man. And I think we're past the time on where we have to think like that.
Yeah.
We're in the U.S. Plus, all that racist stuff leads us nowhere, and it's supposed to be in our past, and we can't keep repeating the past, man. We got to move forward and show the next generation we're cool with everybody, man. Don't see colors, man. You want to see personality. Yeah,
that's most definitely, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people go through that experience, you know what I mean, in there, you know what I'm saying, where they have to, you know, like you said, oh, who you running with? You running with the blacks, or you running with the whites, or the Mexicans?
I've even seen,
you know what I mean?
Like, there are some, like, there's some blacks in there from, like, an Asian gang. They'd be like, what's up, man, from Asian Boys Crip or whatever. And we're like, oh, okay, cool, you know. And then I even seen someone come up in there who grew up, he's a black dude, but he grew up in a Mexican neighborhood. So when he got in there, he was in the black tank, and he was asking his homie he knew from the streets, like, hey, bro, should I be in here? And the dude was trying to break it down. He was kind of like I was when I first went in. He was like, what should I do, man? All my homies are Mexican. You know, that's where I grew up. And then so the dude, luckily, he was cool, and I heard him explaining to him, like, go where you feel most comfortable, man. So the dude ended up was like, I'm gonna have to go to the other tank, because those are my peoples, you know. Even though he was black, but he grew up in Mexican neighborhoods, so he moved over there, and you know, it wasn't, you know, like a discipline or nothing, but you just be real, man. Be yourself, and don't gotta like put on no front or nothing, because people see right through the front.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So I mean, he was cool with that, but it's still a crazy fact that they have to separate you and you have to choose a side, man. Because when you're in the streets, you're not choosing a side. You're homies with people that you're cool with, whatever race they're gonna be. And when you get put in there and you have to choose a certain race, you're like, but that's my homie right there. This is my race. Y'all are my homies. Why can't, you know? So it was tough, man. It's
What's the craziest thing, or the craziest thing you experienced in jail?
My son asked me that a lot, man. Bro, there's a lot, and
the most craziest, you know what I mean? However you want to put it, but what's the most memorable, like, that comes up to your head? Like, oh,
Okay,
shit.
so what I went through personally, you know how they say, like, when you go to chow time at jail, you got to eat fast and everything?
Yeah.
When I got out, I ate a burger at McDonald's with my boy, and I was finished really fast. He was like, dang, it's true what they say about people in jail. So I'm going to breakfast one day in TDC at Bartlett State Jail, and I'm in line, and it's 4 a.m. I'm not a morning person, man. I'm halfway waking up, but I want to eat breakfast because I didn't really have that much commissary, and so I'm eating my food, and as soon as I sit down, and I'm like putting the milk in the oatmeal, whatever they're giving me, I'm cutting the pancakes. She's like, all right, get up. And I was like, I just sat down. She's like, I don't care, get your ass up. And the deputy, the guard is freaking there yelling at me. And then so I'm like, whatever, man, I'm eating my food. So I sat there eating, and then she snatches like my tray out of it. So I grab it and pull it back. And when I did that, the kind of action caused it to splash on me and her.
Oh, wow.
And then, bro, she ended up fucking swinging on me. Bow. She hit me on my head.
Wow.
And then so I got up, and I'm thinking, like, what should I do? First of all, it's a female. I can't be hitting no female. So I'm kind of like ducking and dodging her hits, even though everybody in there was like, hit that bitch. Hit her, man. Come on, man. And then, like, nobody liked her. She had attitude, So
Yeah.
I ended up, like, so they came in, the captain came in with a big old thing of mace.
Oh,
handcuffs
you got
and stuff.
maced up?
Yeah, I got maced up. But when they came in, I was already like this. I was like, I ain't touch her. You know what I'm saying? This was all her. Y'all could check the cameras or whatever. But according to what they saw at first, pretty much I was fighting a female guard. One thing, she's a female. Second thing, she's a guard at the jail. So they took me to the back. It was freaking punk ass Captain Hernandez. Takes me to the back over there and takes off my handcuffs inside of a room and stands there with 2 guys standing next to me, and he starts punching me. Bow! Hits me in my face.
Wow.
Hits me in my stomach. And he was like, come on, fight me. You want to fight one of my guards? You want to fight the girl? Fight me. And I already know what's going to happen with that. Even if I left a mark on him, he could report that, and I'm going to get 5 years for assaulting a correctional officer.
Wow.
So I already know all this, and he's just hitting me, trying to make me hit him. I was like, I'm not going to hit you, man. And first of all, I ain't hit nobody. It was your guard that assaulted me. And then, bow, hits me again. It was like, come on, punk ass, hit me. And I was looking at him like, I could whoop this dude, because he was like, shorter than me. I was like, man, I could take this dude down. I was working out and stuff. And so I was like, man, it ain't worth it, man. What am I going to throw away my life just to mess with yours? You ain't worth nothing to me. And he was like, all right, man, let me find out you going to snitch. And I was like, get your little crazy ass out of here, man. So I ended up, they sent me to the SHU, what's it called? I can't think of it right now. Segregation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was in isolation.
Isolation, yeah. That's it.
There's another word, man. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. But yeah, it's where they separate you from everyone. You're in a little cell, right? So they put me in there, and I'm like, okay, y'all do know I didn't do nothing, right? She assaulted me or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, whatever. So they ended up, I talked to like the main person, saying, I never snitched on Captain Hernandez, by the way, which I probably should have, because it really didn't, he's a guard and I'm an inmate. But I just said, yeah, I didn't hit the girl and she did this and this. So they ended up dropping the case on me. But while I was in, I can't think of it, man. While I was in the hole, the jail got into a riot. So I'm in the hole for already like a couple weeks. And then since that happened, they put us on lockdown for like 2 months. And so they're only bringing us sack lunches, which is like bread, a little hard-ass cookie, and some bologna. Wow. So I'm sitting there eating that every day in a small little cell that only has a toilet and a bed. Sometimes they'll turn on the TV, which is at a distance. You have to watch through the gate, and they take you out for showers every other day or once a week or something. So you have to kind of do yourself a bird bath in the sink. And I was working out. I was gaining weight when I was in there. But when I went to the SHU, I lost so much weight. I came out, they were like, bro, what happened to you, man? I was like, man, I couldn't even eat the bologna no more. It was so gross. I would take the bread and just ball it up and eat that and drink the water or whatever. So it was bad for something I didn't even do. I was just trying to eat my food, and you know, she gave me 2 minutes, I would have been done. But then she wants to assault me and stuff. So that's something that I'll never forget. Like, I think about that every now and then too, man. There's that. There's also another time where, like, I'm not gonna say which gang, but there were some people inside the jail that were like, they would just get turned up for some reason out of nowhere and be like, you know what? I need all y'all up here. They say the gang name, and whoever's sleeping needs to wake up. It would be after last count for the night. And they'd be like, all right, everybody get up. If you don't, you can get your ass whooped. He'd be like, I want everyone over here to choose somebody to fight. And then so I'd wake up like, oh, great, man. What if they come? Because I had a little size to me. I was working out and stuff. But, you know, I was cool with everybody. So I was just wondering if maybe someone wanted to test me or something. And they ended up calling out certain people's, hey, come on, bunk number 27. Come on, I want to see you in the front. They go at it, pop, 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 pop. People were getting knocked out, blood, and all this stuff.
Wow.
Woo, this is kind of crazy, man. You know, like, this isn't like, okay, we got beef, let's do it. It's like, okay, choose anybody you want to do, and then you're going to fight them.
Like some gladiator shit.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
So it was like a Thunderdome in there, man. Like, I did have to fight 2-on-1. It was kind of like a heart check to make sure I wasn't, you know, a punk and fall on the ground or yell for the guards. So I fought, you know, 2 people for 60 seconds, kind of, you know, earned my spot in there. Afterwards, a lot of people were trying to recruit me and stuff, but I always kind of, you know, one thing is because I am cool with a lot of people in different gangs, and I was never saw myself as, you know, one person. Like,
You were just cool with everybody.
yeah, I was just cool with everybody, man. I ain't trying to be, you know, gang banging or nothing. So I did the 60 seconds, stayed on my feet the whole time. They caught me a couple. But what I was doing, we would start off, and there was 2 of them, right? So I would duck off to one side, pop, 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 pop. When the other one started getting closer, I would duck off to his side, boom, boom, boom.
Damn.
So I kept doing that, but they ended up catching me against the wall one time, and they caught me good. But then I ducked out, and I was about to start fighting again. My mouth, after they busted me in my mouth and my eye, and I was like, and then I was about to fight again. They were like, time, and there was already 60 seconds, and I was like, all right. People were like, "Oh man, that shit was good, man. You stayed on your feet." And so after that, I was pretty cool with like everybody, man.
Yeah, they showed you respect, and this dude's somebody to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying?
I had even like some of them were like coming up and giving me their gang handshake, and one of them you had to put to your heart, and I would do it, and I was like, "Bro, you know I can't put this to my heart, man. I'm not part of y'all." He was like, "Come on, we'll be part of it." I'm like, "Man, bro, I can't, man. You know, I'm just cool with. I have a lot of family members in different places, so." They were cool with me though. We would chill. They would spread with me. It came to a point to where, even though I was doing it alone. They were looking out for me, man, and that's also a blessing. Because at first, for a while, I'd have to sneak the food back from the cafeteria, bread, whatever I was able to save. If it was, you know, a piece of chicken or something. So when I got hungry at night, because they last chow was at 4 p.m. So from 4 p.m. until like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., you don't have nothing to eat if you don't have commissary. So I would bust out my little, in Texas they have cornbread, you know. I haven't seen no cornbread out here, but, you know, it's southern food out there. They would do it. So I would have sneak back cornbread, bread, biscuits, whatever I could, you know, in the store. Yeah, it was tough for a while, man.
Yeah, man, that sounds crazy. That's a crazy ass story right there, dog. You know what I mean? You went through some stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people that go through the jail system and go through the jail, you know what I mean, go through similar stuff or even
for
worse.
Sure.
You know
yeah,
I mean?
Exactly, man. Like, this time around, fentanyl has been hitting the streets pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people in there were falling out from that, man.
Wow.
Dying. Some of the people would say it was from COVID, but completely falling out like that, you know, just out of nowhere, can't wake up. So it was happening a lot, man. I've also seen fights that happened, and the dude would punch. It would be an even fight, 1-on-1, but the dude would fall and hit his head on something, and ends up catching a attempt murder charge or a murder charge in
wow.
there just from a fight. Yeah, so there's so much crazy stuff, man. from me getting my eye pierced in jail. I got my eyebrow pierced because one of the inmates that was in the hole with me at that time went to the dentist, and he ended up sneaking back a little drill bit or something. And they're super sharp, bro, and it was in a plastic wrapper, so it was fresh still. So he busts out, and he was like, "Hey, anybody want to use this?" And I was like, I might get my eye pierced or something. I don't know. And he was like, "Well, I'm about to pierce my dick. So if you want to use it, you got to do it now." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, all right, come on. You do it for me." So he ended up pulling it out, and pow. And it was so sharp, and bro,
crazy,
it was like butter, man. Like as Susan went through, I was like, "Oh, you done already?" And we put a little comb piece in it, and I had that in the whole time, and he did what he did with it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's so. And then also, people be taking like, on a bishop, on a chess piece has a little ball on the top. People would cut off that ball and implant it into the top of their penises.
What?
Because they say that it gives the girl more pleasure. And so people were doing that. A lot of people were just doing that, man. Like,
that's crazy. Fucking
imagine how like
prison
it was
doctors.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
And I was like, nah. But I seen a lot of people too saying it got infected. A lot of people saying it would hurt the girl and they would get it taken out. So it was just a trend that was kind of going on and people were doing. And I'm glad I never freaking went to that.
Yeah, that's too crazy, dog. You know what I mean? Coming to almost the end of our podcast, you know what I'm saying? I want to talk about just a little bit about, you know what I mean, what you want to leave the people with, you know what I'm saying, what you have planned for the future, and also, you know what I mean, about your merch and all your stuff that you have going, you know what I mean, where people, you know what I mean, purchase some of your merch, you know what I mean, are you going to have some events coming up, all that stuff.
Okay, well, first of all, my main thing is to let everybody know out there that life is going to get tough sometime. And you're going to get through it. It's not going to be forever. And you need to work towards your dreams, even if it's baby steps, small steps, day by day. As long as you're making a little tiny step, you're moving closer to your goal. If you do nothing and you think about it and dwell on it, I'm never going to reach it, you're not going nowhere.
Yep.
So if you have a goal, anybody out there, whether their past was the worst ever, the future has yet to be determined. So work towards that goal, whatever it may be, small steps. If it's looking up something, if it's taking notes on something, if it's figuring out something, do it. You're making progress to that goal, but don't do nothing. That's the worst you could do.
Yeah.
And as far as my content, I'm giving people a lot more of me, of what I can do. There's, I do acting, I do the cooking videos, I'm not scared to try things, and it's just open. Like, honestly, I'm kind of pretty much down for everything, man, so like from adventurous stuff to trying foods, peppers, going to scary places, I'm down. So hopefully that's something I could do in the future and bring to my content so that people can see, and just keep it exciting. Give them me, and also give them videos of my son and growing up with my son, knowing that the father came from a bad past and he was part of some of it, and seeing that I bounced back from it and able to keep him in my life and see him grow up and maybe him have an audience when he grows up and he could do some of the stuff too. I mean, the gaming, there's a lot of stuff, man. So that's something to look forward to. My YouTube, I want to have longer form videos, episodes of things, me interacting with people in public, even ASMR. I got a mic that I'm just kind of, start including that into some of my videos. And what was the other question? You said content.
Yeah. Basically, what I mean, what other stuff are you gonna put out there, and what can people look forward to the future as far as what you're gonna put out?
Well, seeing a lot of me, man. I'm trying to be everywhere almost, man. Once I'm gonna get off probation, I could travel. I'm gonna be taking on, a lot of different avenues, but I'm always gonna stick to my original formula of the 8 bunkies, because that's what a lot of people are here for. So that's gonna be for sure. I'm gonna dabble into the music, and I have my merch line, which is dpzmerch.com. It has bussin' clothes, it has 8 bunky, it has bussin' or disgusting ones. And eventually, I want to kind of get something that's more.
Do you have a website for that, or how can people get
Yeah,
that?
it's www.dpzmerch.com.
And is that on your TikTok and stuff like that?
It is on my TikTok, yes. And
Click on the link, right?
yeah, so the thing is, it's kind of like they make it as it's bought, so it has to be a little bit more expensive than what I wanted to sell it for. So hopefully I get to a point to where I could sell my merch for cheaper and have it on hand. And also maybe if I see someone in public, I like to give out stickers or something. So if you see me in public, don't be afraid to come up to me, because no matter what time it is, I always have time for you.
That's dope.
Yep.
That's dope. And another thing I wanted to ask you real quick, you know what I mean, talking about all that stuff. I know you say you're going to have a meet and greet, or you're going to meet and greet some people. I mean, when is that going to happen?
Hopefully very soon. A lot of people has been asking for it, but I've been in the halfway house.
Yeah.
So I'm fresh out, so hopefully I can start. Recently, very recently, like within a month. So hopefully I could, well, I am going to plan out something to where I could meet, some of the people. And if you can't make it, maybe we can do a video call or something.
Yeah, we're going to set it up. We're going to set that meet and greet up for sure.
All right, cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. And, you know what I mean, coming to the very last moments of our podcast, man, I want to thank you, obviously, for coming through, you know what I'm saying, showing me some love and coming in and spending some of your time. I know here with your son as well, you know what I mean, obviously he's looking up to you, he's watching you, you know what I'm saying. You come from a very dark place, now you're at a place where you're able to motivate, you know what I mean, multiple people, you know what I mean, with your inspiration, with your videos, with your cooking videos, with your tasting videos. So I want to thank you, man, and I want to congratulate you, you know what I mean, for doing all this stuff that you're doing. And, you know what I mean, motivating me too, bro, because I've been watching you, man. I'm like, damn, bro, this dude is really doing it, and he's doing something special. So I wanted to thank you, dog. And I want to thank my boy, you know what I'm saying, MC1 behind the camera.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean, he's been part of this too since the beginning, you know what I'm saying. And, you know, I want to thank him. He's maybe behind the camera, but he's a big part of this coronau podcast as well, you know what I'm saying. So I want to say real quick, shout out to my sponsors, Coronau Podcast, Coronau Clothing, El Hijo de Diomar 2 coming very soon. That's the EP that I'm dropping. Anything that you want to tell the people before we close this out?
Yeah. Hey, Bunky, make sure to stay bussin', not disgussin'. And I want y'all to remember, if you feel like nobody loves you, just remember DPZ loves you.
Coronau Podcast, motivational podcast. I think my boy P Easy, D Peasy. You know what I mean? It's a pleasure, dog. Thank you so much. And let's get it.
So,
Big things coming, baby.